Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, brothers and sisters all over the world. Habari za Sabui, Habari za Mchana, Habari za Jioni, brothers and sisters all over the world. Good morning, how are you? Yes, I am talking to each and every one of you all over the world. The name of this channel is The African Times, and I'm Thomas. Today's broadcast is the Rise and Shine. The Rise and Shine broadcast. Okay, brothers and sisters, during this episode of the Rise and Shine, this broadcast, I'm going to finish up part two. Part one with part two of how I almost died in Tanzania. And where we stopped the last time, I apologize, the video actually cut off and I was unaware that it had cut off. But where we stopped last time, what I was explaining to you was, I developed a little chest congestion, which is what it was, just simple chest congestion. Very small, very minor, and I had gone to the doctor, and where I left off, I was with my children, and we were in the doctor's office. And again, this is just a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous environment. I mean, it was the doctors. They were there, and they were talking to me, and they were talking and playing with the kids. And my kids, they're little kids, so how little kids are in a doctor's office. They see all the little devices and the toys and the things. They're grabbing on the things and trying to, move things around. And the doctor was enjoying the moment with the children as if like they were his children. It was incredible. I didn't feel pressured. I didn't feel like like in W land. I go to the doctor. You got a very short window to deal with, to interact with the doctor. You're there, and they're trying to ask you questions, or you're trying to ask them questions, and you feel like you got to get it in and get it out. You got to try to make sure your questions are organized so that you only have a few minutes with the doctor, and he's rushing you out. This was not the case here. It was like a family moment. And I'd never seen these people before. So after they played with the children and interacted with the children for a good little while too, I even started to think, well, are y'all here for me and my health? Are we here having a daycare moment with the children? So once they got to me, they were asking me again, how I was feeling and how long have I been feeling this way, and some basic questions. I think they ended up asking me, do I smoke or anything like that? And I was like, no. So now at this point, I'm talking to the doctor. Now this is where I was telling you that death. I mean, I don't even normally, I'm the type of brother, maybe I have the same thing that, they say men have, where I don't go to the doctor unless there's a real pressing issue for me to go to the doctor. Other than that, I try to just tough it out. If I get a headache, kind of tough it out, let the headache go by. I don't really pop a pill, or something like that. But in this case, I knew that if I didn't go to the doctor, I don't know how many days I was going to be here, because that chest congestion, it was very small in the beginning. But then it literally got to a point where I was unable to talk because I couldn't get any air in my lungs to be able to communicate. I couldn't talk. So my speech was like, I need, I need to. That's how I was talking. It was incredible. So I was like, okay, the initial consultation, I had one prior to this. and they give you the basic cold medicine that you can get anywhere. In W World, they roll out the various products that you can buy over the counter, and it didn't solve my problem. So when I was in this consultation with the doctor, he told me, he said, well, you need to go straight to the hospital. And I was like, wow, straight to the hospital? He's like, yeah, you leave here and go directly to the hospital. Don't don't waste any time. Don't take any days. And so now I was in a clinic. You go to the doctor's clinic. And when he told me to go straight to the hospital, I knew it was serious. Plus, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't really get any sentences out. And the reason he told me is because at that facility, they do basic care. So they don't have the x-rays and things of that nature. And what he wanted me to do was go get an x-ray, of my chest area, your lungs and all of that. And so, hold on one second. So anyway, I left there and I went straight to the hospital. Now remember, this is my first experience with the Tanzanian medical system, both a clinic, and when I went to the hospital, it was a big hospital. It was a very, very big hospital. And the hospital, I gotta tell you, it was beautiful. It was like going to a resort. It's like going to a resort. I'm not gonna tell you the name of the hospital. We could possibly do something like that offline, but I just, I like to be careful and make sure that I don't violate anyone's policies or do anything like that. But let me just tell you, the hospital looked like a resort. And when I went there, I was in such a bad shape that, imagine if you live in a home or you live in an apartment and you have to walk from, say, your bedroom to the kitchen. I could not walk from the bedroom to the kitchen without stopping along the way to sit down so that I could have some air to breathe. And then when I got to, as in the example, from the bedroom to the kitchen, when I get to the kitchen, I got to sit down before I do what I came in the kitchen to do because I was exhausted. So, and again, let me be clear so that you guys understand, not that spooky thing, none of that. And I can tell you because when we got to the hospital, the doctors, they were very, very deliberate. And the time I spent waiting, very, very little. No real issue. And here's the thing, this is kind of crazy. They immediately started taking care of me. The issue wasn't, well, hold on, we don't know if we're gonna be able to take care of you. You don't. What kind of insurance do you have? And do none of that. None of that. They saw a person who was sick, and they immediately sent me over to someone to begin diagnosing my problem. Care now. Care and concern about me. Me. Now where I'm from, now these cats have you sitting there for 3-4 hours, man. And all while you sitting there, all they talking about is how they're gonna get paid. Well, how's the hospital gonna benefit? Are you bringing any resources? Do you have any insurance? Do you have any money? This is what they were doing over there. So when I get here, and I literally, I could not even go from, you have a Bajaji. You see it right there. You see the Bajaji right there. So when I go into the hospital, I'm sitting down, they bring me over to this other doctor, and he immediately could tell that I had an issue. And I was concerned at this point because I knew I couldn't breathe. And I didn't know how long I was going to be here because I never, with all of my colds, usually we get chest congestion. Eventually it breaks up and you can kind of cough it out. But in this case, I couldn't cough it out. It was staying there. And then as I took a deep breath, I literally could not do that. And when I did take a deep breath, there was pain in my chest. Pain. Now, for me, I have a high threshold when it comes to pain. Athlete, you play sports, and over in America, we play football, unlike the football here on the motherland continent. But we play that aggressive football with the helmets, and you're gonna tackle somebody. Nah. So I've had many injuries in my life that you just have to kind of deal with the pain and go through and continue on. So the pain in my chest was alarming because I already couldn't breathe, and then when I went so long without having air, I had to try to take a deep breath, and it was pain. So I knew that I just, if this continued, I just wasn't going to be able to. I just wasn't going to be able to survive. And then I was unable to eat. The appetite that I had, and I have a healthy appetite, gone. I just could not eat. So I started losing weight, and I got really kind of, I got really kind of slim. so now I think my wife sent me a video, a little small clip, because I was so out of it that I had a very peculiar look on my face, and I didn't know. And so people were talking to me, and they were looking at me strangely, and I couldn't understand why they were looking at me strangely. So I started looking back at them strangely. Like, okay, you looking at me like something wrong with me. I'm looking at you like something wrong with you. So anyway, I'm sitting in there, and the doctor, let me tell you, just top-notch care. Now, remember I told you it's not the spooky thing. So they immediately ran blood work. They took the x-rays, and thank goodness the x-rays came back, and there was nothing in my lungs. There was nothing showing that there was any damage to my lungs or anything like that. I mean, everything looked normal and good. And so the doctor said, well, you're okay. There's nothing. We're going to solve this problem. It's not a problem. We know exactly what to do, and we're going to take care of you. You're going to be fine. And obviously, with all this stuff going around, so we were like, I don't want any of that. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want any of that. I don't want it, and I'm not gonna do it. So he was like, oh no, that's not your issue. We've already checked for that situation, and that situation doesn't exist with you. But we have a protocol. We have a procedure for your situation, and that situation is going to be resolved similar to it would if you'd had the other issue, the spooky issue. If you'd had that, that's not a problem either. And I was like, okay. And he was very calm, and he was confident. And young brother, do you understand me? Young brother. I'm not talking about a dude with gray hair like me. No, Babu, no. Not no old dude and speaking the words of wisdom. No, this was a young brother. I think this brother, he might have been, 30 maybe. More look like he's like 28, but maybe, and 32 tops. So he's talking to me, and he's like, yeah, no problem. We got you. So here I'm in getting excellent care. No concern about payment, no concern about any of that stuff. Excellent, just treating me good, treating my kids good. This is my first experience with this system. And so they tell me, because at this point we hadn't, no insurance, we hadn't purchased that here yet. And so he was like, okay, no problem. They told me what they were gonna do, and they started doing it, and it was without the payment. And I was like, okay, they told me what it was. Now, because we here, we didn't have insurance, we had to pay cash. It was affordable. It was affordable. In other words, even if I didn't have insurance, the goal was to take care of me and get me healthy, not to drain me financially and enrich some group of people, some group of board members that they don't care about my health or what I'm doing, but they just want some profit, some money. So they prescribed this to get me better. They prescribed this procedure. Hey, Thomas, excuse me, everybody. Hold on, I got my son. I love him, but Thomas. Okay, I want you and Lenore go over there and play, like I told you. Thank you. So they prescribe this procedure, and they tell me, okay, the way this works is if you had insurance, this would be in the hospital situation. You'd have to come to the hospital, and you'd need to be here for 7 days. Now, yeah, it's 5 or 7 days. I think it was 5 days actually. But in either case, but when you're paying cash, you can do outpatient service. Now, this procedure, I had to come back every day, 3 times a day. 3 times a day, every day. Every 8 hours I had to come back. And they did this procedure. They gave me this medication. And I remember thinking, wow, that's extreme. It's extreme. But my problem was extreme because I couldn't breathe. I literally, when I would get to the hospital, I would get out of the Bajaj, walk from the parking lot to the hospital. As soon as I get in the hospital lobby, I had to sit down in a chair. I was slumped over, even going from the chair to the room where they had to administer the medication. So I was slumped over. And I asked him, I said, are y'all gonna be able to solve this? And he was like, oh, no problem. No problem. As he was playing with my children. This doctor too, playing with my children. Having a good time, no worries, no pressure, everything calm. And so the first couple of days of this procedure, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is working, because I didn't feel any change really. But by day three, yeah, I begin to have some feeling of life. Like, I literally, at that point, I was able to walk normally downstairs and get to my location where I was going and do whatever it was that I came to do without having to stop and rest every, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps. I mean, it was just incredible. I never experienced it before. And so I took it for a couple more days. And all of the people, because I had a series of medications that were given to me. And so each person, because 3 times a day, each person that gave it to me, sometimes it would be different people. And they were all don't worry about anything. Everything's great. You're going to be fine. How you doing today? Good. All right. Yeah. And they would talk to me about where I'm from. And they would all tell me how, this is great. They have great medical care. And they did. So I have to make sure you guys know out there, oh, top notch. You hear me say in the videos, oh, we got doctors and scientists and engineers and people too. And these people, they did it. So remember, I kept telling you guys that it wasn't this spooky thing. And I know it may sound to some people because we've been terrified, made afraid, and I'm just not that kind of a person. I'm just not afraid like that. But the guy that I told you they had checked, and they were like, no, that's not your issue, so don't worry about that. And he joked with me. He said, you want me to give you that stuff? I was like, no. And so we started laughing. But day 4 and 5, the congestion in my chest, it was gone completely. And After the 5th day, I could breathe and I could talk. I could talk. And I hadn't been able to talk for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. Just not being able to talk. You don't understand. Not being able to get enough air to be able to talk. So I knew that, okay, it worked. Whatever they did, and they knew specifically, because they told me it's going to take 5 days. They told me. And so I think how I got confused with the day 7 is that by the 7th day, I could take a deep breath. There was very little pain. In fact, I don't think it was really pain. It was just more like a feeling of remembering or recalling the sensitivity that was there before I started the process. And then I think within probably by the 2nd week, I was good. I even remember trying to run and things. But because I had gone through that period of, say, about 10 days with very little food, very little eating, even drinking is just very little, I lost weight. I lost quite a bit of weight. And because I couldn't move, I literally couldn't move. And I'm an exerciser. I lift weights and I run. I had lost all of my muscular definition. I don't remember the exact term of it, but everywhere I have muscles, in your calves, your biceps, your thigh muscles, all of that gone. It's just slim. And so I remember touching my calf, and it was just fleshy. It was flimsy, doughy. I could just move it. There was no solid anything to my body, and I wasn't used to that. And again, at this point, I still didn't recognize. I never even looked in a mirror. I didn't know how I looked. And so I remember afterwards, when I started getting better, this is before I started gaining weight, so it's probably the 10th day or something like that, having a conversation with my wife and some loved ones, and they were like, you looked crazy, right? I was like, what? They said, yeah, you were talking to somebody and everybody kept looking at you all weird and everything. And I was like, yeah, what was that about? What was going on? They said, because you looked very weird. You looked crazy. And I was like, huh? They said, yeah, let me show you a picture. And they showed me a video of how I was walking around and how I was looking. And then I understood why everybody kept looking at me crazy, because everybody knew me and I looked very strong and healthy and all of that. So to make a long story short, it took probably, I think, the 3rd week I was back and I was running. I had you think about when you take medication, are there side effects and things like that? The only thing there were really no side effects. The only thing that happened to me is, I think, because I hadn't been eating or drinking, and then I had very little movement for like 10, maybe 14 days, maybe 3 weeks tops, that I lost, my physical strength, my muscles, and I had to build that back up. So walking, running, exercising, all of that stuff, I just couldn't do. And I gotten really small. I think I probably lost 12 pounds. 12 pounds, and I'm not a, not a big brother, because I lost all my weight before to get healthy. And so to go down another 10, 12 pounds, it wasn't a good look for me. Let's leave it at that. So anyway, I got better, but I almost died. Yeah, I almost died. I think if it had not been for the excellent medical care that I received here in Tanzania, the caring doctors, the knowledgeable staff, people who are experts in their area, and again, young brothers and sisters, no know what they're doing with expertise and skill. Bedside manner. We're talking about bedside manner. You're talking about people who, they're not just there for the check. They're not just there for the money. They genuinely have a concern for you. And keep in mind here, I'm an older gentleman that they're dealing with. So the amount of respect that they showed me as a man coming in caring for me was like they were caring for one of their father or their brother or their uncle, somebody who's older. They cared about me. They cared about my children, and they knew what was at stake. So, needless to say, I'm here today. I'm here today telling you about how I almost died in Tanzania. But I'm here. I'm good. So when you come and you bring your family here, know the facilities that are here, the people that are here, excellent. Some of the best in the world. And let me just add, because it's very important. When I say best in the world, I'm aware that the medical system implemented by the W's is worldwide. So if you're a person who you go to medical school and you study, you're probably getting a lot of their information. Not all of it is bad. Not all of it is good. But it's when you approach that information from an African perspective, an African consciousness, an Afrocentric consciousness, then you understand that you just can't take the information that they give you and accept it wholly and completely as, the end all be all. No, you have to investigate. You have to use your wisdom and your knowledge and your intelligence. You have to bring to bear all of your people's history and society with ailments and how we deal with things and all of that. Because those people in a capitalistic society, everything that they roll out is for profit, for gain, to maintain the control of the economic system that they have to benefit them. So even your medication, even your health, just like your law books and all of that, it's biased, filled with propaganda, filled with information that's false, filled with information that's even true. But the true information is surrounded by other information to lead you to the belief that whatever they do, whatever they say, is the only way and the right way. And then if you have any other way that you think it should be done or a better way, then they tell you, no, it's not the case. Your way is not the best way. Our way is the best way. And we can prove it to you because you got to bring your information to us and let us tell you whether or not it's true. Now, do you see the foolishness of that? Please understand what I'm saying. It's very important. If they tell you that the way that you think about anything and what you develop and what your science is not the right science and is questionable and probably not credible, but if you bring it to them, for them to tell you whether or not it's true or whether or not it's good, do you understand? Then the end result is going to be what it has been, that everything they say is right. Everything they give you is right. And if they give you a medication, their medication is the only way and yours is inferior. Be careful. It's dangerous. You understand? Okay. So I need you to know that. Now, again, I'm alive. I'm talking to you. All right. I'm going to have another experience with another hospital. And this is going to be very, very, it's very, very, even for me, for what about to be done now, for me, is nothing what happened to me. Because, I can, but this is for one of my loved ones. And trust me when I tell you, I love my children. I love my children. And remember, all the African babies, they're mine all over the world. I understand what my role is, what my purpose is. I have intentionality. I'm united with our good brothers and sisters. But anyway, we're going to go to this other facility. And this place is well known. I went in there, I saw some videos, some things that they've done to help people. Children. the things that they've done to help the children, it's incredible. It's amazing. And so we're going to go have some work done, and they've assured us, again, comfortable doctor. Let me tell you something. Doctor gives you his phone number. Yeah, no, not the hospital, not the office number. No, here's my number. Call me. You got any questions, let me know. Feel good. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. This is what I'm talking about. Loving, caring, nurturing environment. Remember, see, when I grew up, they told us it takes a village. That was an African concept. It takes a village. In other words, we all love each other. We all understand we're in this together, united. So we're going to all be together for the betterment and the safety and the health and the prosperity of all of us. Okay? So that can't be confused. So when I get done with this procedure, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you guys an update on this other hospital. And we've had 3 experiences. Tatu, Swahili, brothers and sisters, Swahili. Tatu hospitals that we've interacted with, and the care has been exceptional in every one. Exceptional. All right. So hey, thanks for watching, guys. Again, I'm alive. How I almost died in Tanzania, I made it through so that I could be here with you. Hey, I love you all. Thanks for watching, and I'll give you the update on the new situation. All right, you guys take care. Appreciate you. See that bird back there? You see how beautiful that was? Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru.